Recording video. Dimmed. Stop recording video. Button.
Hello YouTube and welcome to today's album review. Today I'll be reviewing The American Nightmare by Dirtfedd, which was released on June 2nd, 2009, making it the 6th anniversary of the album. To celebrate the 6th anniversary today, I'll be talking about this wonderful and heavy album. Dirtfedd was formed in 2002 in Lincoln, Nebraska. The band was sitting around and drinking beers, and they were trying to come up with the band name. So the vocalist thought of the name Dirtfedd, and that band agreed to keep that name. And I watched a YouTube video a while back, and the drummer mentioned that short story of how the band got the name Dirtfedd. I'm going to go over the personnel of the band, who does what in the band. And sadly, a few years back, 3 out of the 6 band members left the band, and they were replaced. So Dustin Travels does vocals, the lead vocals, and his vocals aren't disappointing on this album at all. Brock Wedstead just does drums. Eric Marshall does guitars. Brian Luganbill also does guitar on this album. Scott Root does bass. And lastly, Travis Wagner does keyboards. Clown from Slipknot produced this album. After he met up with the band in 2007. And he decided to use tape to record the drums, but for everything else, such as the guitars and bass and keyboards, all that stuff was recorded with Pro Tools. And I watched the interview a while back, and the drummer mentioned how everything was recorded. So I'm going to go over the track listing, describe each moment of each track afterwards. So the tracks are Salute, Train to Kill, Set the Spider to the Fly, Cold Fix and Hot Licks, The American Nightmare, which finished playing a while ago, Tonight, which is currently playing at the moment, Here I Am, Shotgun Romance, Aries, War Criminal, and Wasted. Salute starts out with this nice sample of what sounds like a keyboard or a guitar, and then you hear the phrases from Dustin as he screams, drink, fight, fuck, and salute, which are said during the courses of this track. And during the verses, the song goes into this nice headbanging moment, and it slows down a little bit, and then towards the middle of the track, everything mellows out with the sounds of the piano and a nice sound of strings. And Dustin does his clean vocals before the third verse. And by the time the third verse and the third chorus are done, he does this long and horrific scream. The song slows down, and he says the 4 phrases again: drink, fight, fuck, and salute. And he says it for a few moments before the track ends. Train to Kill. This is more of a headbanging track. The first one was a headbanging track as well, but this one you could bang your head to. And this track, along with Salute, are not weak songs at all. They're very heavy. And during the break part of the song, you hear the nice drum section that Brock provides. Before Dustin says in this nice growling tone, kill, numerous times. Said the Spider to the Fly is different than the previous 2 songs. It's more heavier, has like galloping feel to it. Reminds me of Devil Driver for some reason. Reminds me of a track off of their album, their first album that came out in 2003. Cold Fix and Hot Licks is an instrumental that comprises sliding guitar, which has a blues feel to it. And during the song you hear this nice piano section that the keyboardist provides. The American Nightmare starts off with Dustin whispering, then the song kicks off in this nice guitar riff that follows the keyboard, which is in an organ effect, and so on. And during the break part, after the second chorus, you hear this nice guitar riff, and all of a sudden you hear Dustin do this insane laugh, which is kind of cool. Tonight, which we just got done listening to, it's more of a song that you would listen to if you broke up with somebody. You know, talks about regretting, hurting somebody and giving your heart and soul to that person. And during the break part of the song, it slows down. And then towards the end of the song, after the third chorus, Dustin does this long, high scream, a shrill scream, just like he did at the very end of Salute. Here I Am, which is currently playing at the moment, starts off with this nice guitar riff that reminds me of a song by Unearth for some reason. And then Dustin does this amazing growl once again. And he actually does the growling on the verses of Said the Spider to the Fly. And then the chorus on Here I Am, the choruses are in this nice slow tempo. And after the first chorus, the song picks back up again to its normal speed. It's fast speed. It's more of a medium speed. Shotgun Romance. Luckily I have the track list right here that I'm referring to. But it kicks off with this nice piano melody. And then Dustin does his ferocious growling. And then the choruses have this nice era of clean vocals that Dustin provides. The line that really catches me during the track, and it's very interesting to hear, is you broke my heart, I'll break your face. It's interesting here. Yeah, this is a Shotgun Romance. This is one of my personal favorite Dirtfedd songs of all time. And I never get tired of it if I hear it constantly. And the interesting part about the song is that by the time the second chorus starts, Dustin does clean vocals first, and then right after he does his death metal growls, which is awesome. And once the chorus is done, he does his clean vocals again. And then he does this, shrill scream. Right before the third chorus. And then to top it all off with Shotgun Romance, the song ends off with this nice and beautiful piano melody, which is very, very dark. And it's a piano melody that sometimes gets stuck in my head every time I hear it. Aries. This track is a more faster track to listen to and headbang to. It's intense. It has Dustin's screaming. And then it has clean vocals also. But you hear the nice set of keyboards during the whole track, along with Shotgun Romance and the first 7 songs on this album. And then towards the end of the track, the song ends off with this nice keyboard effect that fades out. War Criminal has this nice riff that kicks off the track. It reminds me of a track by, I'm gonna have to say either Unearth or Devil Driver. It's slow, and then it picks up into this fast tempo. And that's when Dustin does his high screams. It's incredible. And then towards the break part, when Dustin does his growling, you hear the keyboards do this nice, sounds like a synthesizer effect that is going on while the guitars are doing this nice beefy riff. And then towards the end of War Criminal, you hear Dustin do this like quiet whisper. It sounds like something like that. He doesn't say anything, but he just does that little whisper. And then to close off the album on a good note, Wasted, one of my personal favorite songs off of The American Nightmare. Wasted is one of those songs that you have to listen to while drinking with friends. It's a heavy, heavy track. It is intense. And before I get to the song, Aries, which is playing right now, I forgot to mention, it kicks off with this nice keyboard melody that is set to the piano setting. And it does that same piano melody during the break part of Aries. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But back to Wasted. The song's intense. Talks about drinking, getting messed up, and getting intoxicated, and so on. But the cool thing about the song is that during the break part and towards the end of the song, Dustin's voice goes into this nice and intense distortion effect. And at the very end of the song, I'm gonna have to say for like 30 seconds, he does this long, piercing scream while his voice is set to this nice distorted effect. So it's kind of like if you were to take a microphone, plug it into your guitar amplifier, and set the guitar to high gain overdrive. That's how much distortion is in his voice while he's screaming. And then Wasted is followed by this, I have to say, 1 to 2 minute message that this guy leaves on an answering machine, talking about how much he enjoyed the Dirtfedd show, and he talks about being a white guy from the ghetto, and he sounds very humorous during the message. And not only does he talk about going to a Dirtfedd show and enjoying it, he talks about watching NASCAR too. It's pretty cool. And yeah, that concludes everything on The American Nightmare. This album clocks in around 47 minutes. So it's your standard album length. It's not an hour long, it's just 47 minutes. And if this review seems to be long, it's okay actually, because I wanted to explain each track be descriptive, describe every moment of it. And let me tell you, the keyboards on all the tracks on this album are amazing. You hear them every moment of the song, excluding the parts where you hear the guitars on the song Tonight, and especially the track Train to Kill, when you hear the nice drum pattern that Brock Wetstead provides during the break part of Train to Kill. So if I were to give The American Nightmare a rating, I would have to give it a I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. Getting tongue-tied. This is a good song. This is a good album. I wish more songs were added to this album. And I was doing some research a while back. And this album is actually Dirtfedd's debut album. And this album was released through E1 Music, which used to be Koch Records back in the day. And the label could only produce one album. You know, could only have Dirtfedd's album go through their label. So Dirtfedd agreed to sign Sony and released American Nightmare. I wish they continued with the record label, you know, releasing more albums to that label, but what can you do? The band even mentioned that they were going to release an EP in 2013, but everything went downhill. You know, a few members left the band. Luckily, Brian Luganville's still in the band, along with Eric Marshall. I'm gonna have to say, because the drummer left the band, along with the singer and the bassist. So, and before I end this review, this album is not as disappointing. If you never heard of Dirtfedd, check this album out. It's on Spotify. Checked it out a while back, and it's awesome. So for those of you who have never heard of The American Nightmare by Dirtfedd, please check it out on Spotify. It's not a disappointment at all. And what's really confusing, not only was this album Dirtfedd's debut album, but they came out with an album back in 2005, 3 years after they formed in Lincoln, Nebraska. The album that they came out in 2005 is entitled Midwestern Massacre. And let me tell you, that is a hard to find album. I looked everywhere online. I found a few sites where you could purchase it. The only place you can listen to that album is Groove Shark. That's it. I listened to that album. It's good. I like it. It has an old school Cold Chamber vibe to it. Something off of their first album. But all the tracks on that album remind me of Cold Chamber. Old school Cold Chamber. That album, Midwestern Massacre, seems to be a demo album to me. And I wish Dirtfedd would have re-recorded some of the songs and put on the American Nightmare as bonus tracks. That would have made this album even better. But it's good. The American Nightmare it's not weak, it's perfect. And hopefully the band releases new material very soon with their new vocalist Derek. And hopefully he nails the new tracks. And I hope Dirtfedd keeps their signature sound that they always had, especially on American Nightmare. And the last thing I forgot to mention, because I was so tied to describing the band members and where the band was formed and so on. Dirtfedd, they don't really have a metal category to fit into. You know, they just describe their sound as, you know, it's music, it's metal of course, but it has that hard rock edge to it. That's how they describe their sound. They don't describe themselves as metalcore or melodic metal. And I read that somewhere in an interview a while back too. It's what Brian Lugerbill was mentioning. And I read an article about how the band describes their music, their signature sound. But yeah, this concludes The American Nightmare by Dirtfedd. I was rambling so much. By the time I started this review, the album was at the title track, and now it's at the final song on the album. So, like I always say, rambling's good, because you get to describe each track, each moment of it. And hopefully all of you who have never heard of Dirtfedd, check them out. They toured with Slipknot on Knotfest in 2012, and they were on the Rockstar Energy Drink Mayhem Festival in 2012 as well. I hope they come back and do a festival like that. And it sucks because I try to find a full live set on YouTube and online of them performing at Knotfest and the Mayhem Fest, but nothing. Just live clips, that's it. So, hopefully they're on another Knotfest one day, or the Mayhem Festival again. And since Knotfest provides free online streams of the show, people can't make it out to the live festival. And if Dirtfedd is on Knotfest one day, I'm definitely going to watch it online. The whole thing. And sadly, I missed the live set that featured Dustin on vocals. I watched him perform live on vocals, and let me tell you, he nailed all the songs really good. And he was really energetic too. You know, getting the crowd to mosh and all that good stuff. So thank you for tuning in to the American Nightmare review by Dirtfedd. Any of you who are subscribed to me, please let me know in the comments on how I did in this amazing review. I'm glad I shared all my thoughts and opinions on this album, because I was waiting for this day to come so I could pour my whole heart out and describe each moment of the record. Thank you for tuning into this amazing review, everybody. I hope all of you enjoy your Tuesday evening, and stick around for more music reviews to come. Have a good evening. God bless, and keep it metal.